I've seen a troubling pattern in how the district attorney's office handles certain cases. Domestic violence cases are being accepted and criminal warrants issued before full investigations are complete. Witness statements are missing, suspect interviews are never taken. Cases that should be returned back for further investigation are instead filed with the hope that the defendant will take a plea bargain, even when the DA office knows the case is weak. This practice not only wastes resources, but also damages lives, especially the lives of men falsely accused who are pressured into guilty pleas just to move on.
Hey guys, I'm here with Kyle French, and I just want to give Kyle a little bit of time on this platform. I want him to tell me what's going on in Harris County, the 280th District Court with Judge Curvey. We saw Dr. Candace Matthews and Kyle French with others outside the 280th District Court in Harris County this week. And we also saw somebody, were you riding a chicken? Tell me what's going on, Kyle, for all the people that are watching that don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. Give me the very short, compressed version.
All right. So, long story short, this has been a 280th, horror nightmare for many years. And the 280th District Court has been publishing these protective orders out. Judge Dianne Curvey, the protective order court queen, that presides over it, has now gotten a protective order over her own husband. And we've dug into some of the circumstances, and there's some issues of a gun being pointed at the judge, some other. Now, let me say this. If a gun's pointed at me, I think I'm going to call the cops. I might. It's a good idea, right?
But she waited, 9 days to report it?
That's right. 9 days to report it. Not to the police either, to a task force, and filed a protective order on her husband, which is funny because she still tried to pick up his checks at the VA.
Oh.
Yeah, I found that out.
So this guy gets thrown in jail. He's not served. They file a protective order on him, ex parte, while he's in jail. Nobody tells him about a court date, and then boom, he gets a final protective order ruled against him, right? So now he's got criminal court pending, but there's already a final protective order, and he hasn't been found guilty of doing anything yet. Is that right?
Yeah, so look, yeah, exactly. This gentleman had no idea a protective order had even been granted against him. And then they started violating him for it.
Right, because it was ex parte.
In the jail. Yep.
But then the judge had him picked up on that ex parte, right, on a violation.
That's
correct. He didn't even know there was a protective order. So he's in jail, and while he's in jail, they rush another 9 days, right? Another 9 days, the 20th through the 29th. They get a final protective order hearing, and he's now barred from his house, right? He can't go anywhere near his house. He can't get any of his belongings, and yet nobody has found him criminally at fault for any of these allegations, but she has already secured a protective order from her current husband. And how does her current husband file for a divorce or ask for a divorce if there's a current lifetime protective order between him and his wife? What if he represents himself pro se? Is when he e-files, is that an indirect contact with his wife? And will that be a violation of his protective order? So essentially, is this man stuck in his marriage? With a lifetime protective order?
I think it puts him in a very precarious place to be able to litigate. I mean, you can't have any contact with a person subject of a protective order.
Directly or indirectly?
Correct. And a lot of the times what we've seen with protective orders is a lot of sides will try to use even process servers. They'll say that me filing a divorce against you is retaliation, or it's a violation of the protective order, or you're harassing me with litigation, right? And it becomes so intimidating. The protective order is essentially a gag order, is what it is. It's to keep you from litigating.
She tried to gag him by not talking to you or to Dr. Candace Matthews. That's correct?
That's correct. I've never even met this gentleman before in my life. And
I get the paperwork and I email them to you, and you see that, you give it to Dr. Candace Matthews. And so now she's gagging this guy from talking to two people that actually know her history, her judicial history. She has 2 sanctions on her. Is that correct?
That's correct. Well, actually, there are more sanctions. So yeah, Joe, that's correct. Kevin Freimeyer and I both secured sanctions from the state of Texas for her bad behavior. And now her husband's sitting there. And what's ironic about him sitting in the jail while she's using this protective order to basically silence him, keep him from litigating, is my feelings. She's throwing fundraisers out there, right? And she's having dinner at these nice restaurants, probably eating a steak. While this man, I mean, she just married this gentleman actually in this year, and now he's eating off a dirty tray. He's probably lost his job. I mean, I don't know anybody that can secure work and be in jail and justify that.
Yeah, he was in jail from the 22nd of August to October 30th, based on these allegations, and they were able to secure a wham bam thank you ma'am protective order by filing it, trying to serve it, and a final protective order, lifetime final protective order, rendered about, I would even say, less than 9 days. It's, if you put the times together, it's about 8.5 days or whatever, but they were able to secure a protective order within 9 days of the filing. And this man's in jail for a crime he doesn't even know he has committed. No peace officer has reached out to him to get his side of the story. It was just a filing. They picked him up. He doesn't know why he's in jail. He finds out why he's in jail and he can't bond out. And so he's in there from August 22nd to October 30th. He can't go back home. He doesn't have his underwear, his toothbrush.
Yeah, and this man, I really feel for this guy. I think he's a victim. I really do think he's a victim of Judge Curvey. And I think that Judge Curvey knows.
She said she wrote in the protective order that it was the first occurrence, that he had never been violent. She checked a little box. And you look at the criminal or the charging instrument, and he's like, condolences on your family member that passed away. And he starts asking about the divorce. And it's nothing threatening. It sounds to me like the man doesn't even know anything about his divorce or his life. He's just he just got out of jail. He doesn't know what's going on. And so he reaches out to her, and then boom, she hits him with a violation of the protective order, throws his ass back in jail.
Sounds like my ex.
Like, this man is just trying to get a divorce and you're throwing him in jail. Like, who has control now? And that's horrific when a judge does that. Not only that, but I thought it was kind of shitty, because if you're pro se and you file a template restraining order or protective order, they'll probably kick it out. on Texas Law Help. It's free to get those templates. And lawyers will tell you that in their community, if you get in trouble, you're supposed to hire an attorney to represent you. But Curvey didn't. She's a judge. She did it pro se. She did it sloppy, absolutely sloppy work on a legal template document pro se.
Perjury.
If any other pro se litigant would have done that type of work on their template and turned it in, she would have denied them. Right. But yet she does it. And it just shows how easy a judge just goes over there, check box this, check box that, right? 2 sentences here, 2 sentences. There's no legal work absolutely whatsoever. But a pro se litigant, they use those templates because they really need them. They can't afford legal help. And I know that because I've done that in my case. I did for TRO, ex parte, and the 257th Court. Judge Sandra Peak said I didn't plead it at all because it was a Texas Law Help ex parte TRO template. Definitely a double standard. So moving forward, what do you think's going on with this case? We saw you protest in Houston. We saw that she called law enforcement on you guys while you were protesting again. And I've told you guys in the past, I don't think she knows the First Amendment. Some of y'all know that she got sanctioned because she threw a member of the press out of her courtroom, violating his First Amendment right, right to press, to observe their judiciary. And now she's calling law enforcement when y'all are peacefully assembling outside her reelection campaign efforts. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And I got to say, I'm not surprised by that at all. She does whatever she wants. I mean, she's got a sanction, and we had that even the day of the press conference. They knew we were outside, and she's yelling at litigants inside. That's what the reports we were getting from people that came out of the courtroom that morning of the press conference. She just doesn't care. So calling the law enforcement on us while we're protesting is just another example of what she thinks about your freedom and my freedom of speech. We don't have that. And she's even said that in those recordings, like you said, kicking out press. Press isn't relevant here. This courtroom is confidential. She doesn't care about these rights that we have. Right? And
I don't even know if she knows, if a judge is calling law enforcement, taking away from the community to complain about someone's First Amendment right to assemble and protest. This is a lady that you're going to trust in Harris County to decide whether you're going to lose your property like she did. She took her own current husband's home. She's trying to take his benefits. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, this is a weaponization of the protective order. And she successfully did it. And people need to be aware of these legal tactics that they use. They're abusive legal tactics, and they take away from people. They ruin people's lives by false allegations. So moving forward, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, absolutely, George. The ultimate red flag when your protective order dedicated, let's say that dedicated protective order court, the only dedicated protective order court, I think in Texas, and both the attorneys and the judges going in and out of this court have protective orders in their own personal lives. How many people have you ever met in your life that have had a protective order, but then you go to this place that has them? I mean, it's almost like a tattoo shop, right? Everybody's got to have one. Let's get a protective order, right? I can control, I can do whatever I want. I can make my problems go away with an easy to get protective order.
Yeah. So now she has a lifetime protective order against her current husband. I mean, look at the constitutional challenges. Like, can you do that if you're legally married and can you bar somebody lifetime when you're legally married? Constitutionally?
I think there would have to be some kind of actual violence there, right? I mean, not just a.
But there was no finding because it wasn't found anything in criminal court yet, and it was a default order for a protective order because she threw him in jail, so she could secure a final protective order while he was in jail.
Yeah, and we've seen this before, where they try to take these civil orders and make them fall into a criminal standard. And it's gotten kicked out time after time again in criminal court because the standard of evidence is just way different. And somebody actually has to do something and commit a crime, not just tell a story. And that's what these civil protective orders allow to do.
Okay, so you can file an affidavit, swear to it under the penalties of perjury, which she did.
Yes.
But nobody will uphold perjury. And what I tell people all the time is perjury is against the law. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The problem isn't the law. The problem is getting the judges to enforce perjury. A judge shall comply with the law. Let me say it again. A judge shall comply with the law. If it's against the law, a judge shall comply with the law. A judge is a conservator of the peace. So you have to mandate that judge to refer the penalties of perjury and aggravated perjury to a criminal court. So that's the issue that we're running in is these judges, they don't want to hold anybody accountable. And when these judges are ruining people's lives, taking their property, taking their underwear, I'm really pissed for this man's underwear because, that's like your underwear. And if you can't even get your underwear, your toothbrush, you're a vile individual to block that man, a man you married less than a year ago, said, I do, right? Never done anything to you before. Come on.
And yet you're more worried about the advancement of your career and bougie parties.
Bougie parties.
Bougie. These aren't, we're not talking about McDonald's here. No offense
or a barbecue place where, everybody's in jeans and boots and cowboy hats.
They didn't bring out the hot dogs and the buns, and say we're having a yard sale.
Let me just say, it ain't a community event. It's for people of
very private prestige.
Yeah, that want to spend money on big dinners and
by judges exclusively.
Yeah.
They want the dessert.
Is there any more tea you want to tell us before I wrap this thing up?
Well, let's just say that there are a lot of things, and people are coming to us every day. We may not tell you the tea right now. We may be sitting on it for the right time. But a lot of the stuff we're sitting on is coming to light. And we've been working on it for years. And now it's really starting to manifest. It's like the bountiful harvest of Thanksgiving coming together. The cornucopia of justice is starting to bloom in Harris County. So I think you're going to see some really cool shit here soon.
Yeah,
so
and I hope, remember,
stay tuned.
Vote out 257th Judge District Court, Sandra Peak, and District Court 309th, Linda Dunson. Vote them both out. Vote Curvey out. They're all going to be running these campaigns about family first and how they want to apply justice and how they're clearing backlog. And it's all word salad. They're telling people what they want to hear so that they can earn their vote. And we're here to tell you what we've seen, what we've experienced. Vote them out.
There. Exactly.
Vote them out.
Absolutely.
We need to do our part, educate the public, vote these judges out in Harris County. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you later. Thanks, Kyle. We're going to do it again.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.